Tupac, what do you write about? Justice. What's in my heart? Tupac, what's that? I love it, y'all. We get ready to get into it. Poetic Justice. Hey you guys, it's your girl Big Iesha with Black People Watch. Thank you all for watching my channel. This is going to be a very good Throwback Thursday. I'm reviewing Poetic Justice. It's on STARZ. Now you know you still got your STARZ subscription, because you know if you don't have it, you better go get it, because Power Book 2 is about to start. And so while you're watching Power, you can also watch Poetic Justice. It's definitely a throwback. I got my big 1980s earrings on my door. What are these door knockers? Bamboos. These my bamboos, baby. I got my bamboos on, and we're ready to review some old school love and romance. The movie opens with Justice, who's played by Janet Jackson, and her boyfriend, who's in a drive-in movie theater. Justice wants her boyfriend to go get her a snack, and he does. And so when he leaves the car, he realizes he sees some guys that he had some beef with a couple of days ago, and they see him. Needless to say, her boyfriend doesn't survive the altercation with the guys that he met the other day. This happens right in front of Justice, and she's completely traumatized by it, as she should be. It's very devastating to see something like that happen, and she was just torn up about it. I find out that she works at this hair salon, and her boss is Jessie. And Jessie, played by Candy Alexander, she's amazing. She's been in all the 1990 movies, and of course we all love her. So Tupac's character Lucky walks in the hair salon, and you know he's kind of crushing on Justice. So Justice decides to play a little trick on Lucky, and she gets her manager to come over, and they have this little joke. And I'm not going to repeat it, but I think you all know, if you're from my era, what the joke was. Now, back in the day, I did not get this joke. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand this joke until today. That's the crazy thing. So I know that sounds crazy to most people, but I never asked nobody to tell me what it meant. I just didn't understand the joke. Today, I thoroughly understand the joke. And I was like, oh my God, that's what they were talking about. So if you watch it, you know, don't make me feel too bad about not understanding the joke. But yeah, I feel kind of slow right now. So I was a little younger then, and a little bit more naive. Lucky did not like this joke. He ends up getting pissed off and leaving the salon. And, you know, he's kind of done with that. We also see him as being a single father, and, you know, he's ready to take his daughter from his daughter's mother because she's some kind of crackhead or something like that. He goes to the house and he's ready to pick his daughter up. And while he's sitting there, you know, watching TV, he looks in the candy dish jar and he sees a crack pipe. Now he busts in his baby mom room, and she's in there with a guy, and he goes bananas. He goes off, and the guy comes out of the room, and they end up fighting. Lucky takes his daughter and they leave, and he ends up telling his mom, look, I want Keisha to stay here with us because, you know, her mom is on drugs and it's not a good environment for her. And so the mom says, well, as long as you take care of her, as long as, you know, you realize that your daughter is your responsibility and not mine. He agrees to that. Justice's best friend Iesha, ta-da, ends up inviting her on a ride. They actually have to go to a hair show, and Iesha tells her, listen, these guys that I know that work for the postal service are going on a mail run, and it's like going that way, so we won't have to pay for transportation. We can just ride with these guys, and one of them is her boyfriend. And she said, there's a guy for you too. Justice says, no, I'm not going. I'm not ready for that yet, because she's still reeling from the death of her boyfriend, and she's still in mourning. Iesha calls her out on it. She says, listen, you dressing in black, you're looking sad all the time, you don't date no guys, you know, why don't you come and have a little fun for a change? And she says, okay. Well, she reluctantly agrees to go. The guy that Iesha and her boyfriend Chicago, who's played by Torry, have for him is Lucky. It's the same mailman that came to the hair salon that was trying to crack on her and that, you know, she dissed. Basically, most of the movie takes place inside of this mail truck, but it's what happens in the mail truck that's magic. Justice has all these walls up, and Tupac tries to break them down, and he does eventually. She gets on him about his dirty nails. He talks about her, writing her poetry, which she does, and she recites throughout the entire movie, and it's very beautiful and lovely. There's a time when they stop and they get out of the car, and Iesha wants a drink. And she is a avid drinker. She is, as my mother would say, a liquitarian. Now, a liquitarian is in between a social drinker and an alcoholic. Not quite an alcoholic, but way past a social drinker. Someone who's right in the middle. Like, Iesha's a liquitarian, so she goes into the market, she wants some drink, and she gets it. And, just like most of us, when we get a little liquor in our system, the truth starts coming out and you get a little brassy. So, everybody kind of knows she has this almost problem. They smell barbecue and they stop for the barbecue, and they go in and pretend like they're the cousins of the people who's throwing a barbecue just to eat. In this moment, Justice and Lucky start liking each other. They start seeing the tender side of one another. Their walls are down and they start to open up more. Also, we see Maya Angelou, and it was just great to see her acting. And, I just realized how much I missed her once I saw her all over again. It was really nice to see her face and hear her voice, her distinctive voice. At the barbecue, Iesha is very saucy. She's very drunk and she starts flirting with a guy. Justice sees her flirting with this guy, and she goes over to her and she's like, girl, you about to start some mess out here in these streets. And she's like, girl, get off me. I know what I'm doing. And Chicago sees it, and he goes over and they start arguing, ready to fight the guy, and they gotta leave the barbecue. Once they're back in the mail truck, Lucky and Justice, of course, are getting closer. They have another opportunity to stop, and when they do, Justice wants to tell Iesha how much her drinking concerns her. Chicago and Iesha have a little mishap, shall we say, in the back of the mail truck. And Iesha is not happy with his performance, shall we say. She lets him know. And they get out of the truck, they're fighting, they're arguing. She starts hitting below the belt with her words. She becomes very abusive in her language to him, like really trying to hurt his feelings, just saying the worst possible things that you could say to somebody that you're dating just to hurt them. And she also says that she's sleeping with another man. This was the last straw for Chicago, who was constantly brushing his hair. He got on my nerves with that. Chicago hauls off and hits her. And they start fighting. And they start going at it. Iesha's kicking him, scratching on him, trying to do whatever she can to kick his butt. And Justice and Lucky are in the car watching all of this. So Justice says to Lucky, do something. And he was like, that ain't none of my business. And she like, what? She gets out the car and she goes over and kicks Chicago where the sun don't shine. He goes down like a ton of bricks and grabs her and brings him down with her. And they start rolling around. Now Chicago was done fighting Iesha, and now he's fighting Justice. And they on the ground rolling around. And Lucky sees this and he jumps out the car. He runs over and he throws his brush, calls him a coward, and then they start fighting. So Chicago was fighting everybody. They end up cussing him out and leaving him on the side of the road, as they should. Lucky was talking about the whole time making music with his cousin, and so he was excited to get back, to get up there to see his cousin, and they could start working on their music, and this was going to be their future, and this was going to be their plan. But when they arrive, something different happens, and I'm not going to say, because I do want you to check out Poetic Justice. The chemistry between Tupac and Janet Jackson was absolutely it was amazing. It is a ghetto love story. It's not a gangster story, though gangster situations happen, which is true to life. And I think that's why we could relate to it. It's like there's a sweet and bad side to the hood. It's like, of course, you find people that you like and have fun with, but then there's the death and the murder and the other things that come with living in urban community. And I think Poetic Justice did that well. Good direction from John Singleton, R.I.P. John Singleton, R.I.P. Tupac Shakur, who was on the verge of becoming such a great actor. And this part kind of shows that he could have been something great. He could have been really an awesome actor in addition to, you know, an awesome rapper. He was definitely going too soon. There's a cameo by Keith Washington. I was like, there go Keith Washington. Tone Loc was in this movie. He was the baby mom's current boyfriend, but then there was another guy in the house, so I didn't understand that. But it was just a great movie. Definitely a good throwback. It's not a lot of action in this movie. If you're looking for a lot of action, that's not what this is. It's more of a romance. And you definitely see that play out between Tupac and Janet Jackson. You got to see a tender, loving side of Tupac Shakur, which was really nice. Of course, you hear Janet Jackson. I heard from a friend today, and she said you were in town. And did you know that the poetry in this movie was written by Maya Angelou? And that's why we love it so much. This is your girl, Big Ish. Thank you for watching Black People Watch. This is Throwback Thursday, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.